Hey, this is Donald Carpenter from Empire, and if you're not in the now, you're in the nothing.
You guys are out on the big Seether tour.
Yeah.
How's that big monster been going for you guys?
It's comfortable for us. We've all known the Seether guys for a long time. My band Submerged back on Wind Up when I first started, and Corey in Dark New Day when he toured with Sean and those guys back in the day. So we finished up the year with them last year in October, and it felt good to kind of get back and kind of see how the response would be with their fan base, and it was awesome then, and it just seems to be getting better every night, so we're excited.
Nice. So how did that whole thing come about with you guys getting invited back out on the road? Was it kind of their idea? Or was it management? Or?
There's, back in the day, it was kind of customary that, the bigger bands would kind of find those bands that they would help along and bring out on the road, and really expose them to their fan base and help break these bands. And Ozzy with Metallica and Kiss with Rush, and all these different times would happen over history. And we, as friends, us and Sean and all them, we get together and talk about those type of things. How we like the old camaraderie, where the bands are friends and everybody supports each other. And we had so much fun last year, and it had been something that we'd been talking about doing for so long previous that when they came back out this year, it seemed natural that we would do it again. So they invited us back, and it was everything that we expected, and hopefully we'll be doing it some more. So.
Nice. Now, looking back over the shows you've done so far on this leg of the tour, is there any one or two shows that kind of stick out in your mind as kind of being memorable to you? Like maybe just the vibe or the audience attendance or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Honestly, all the shows have been incredible. I know that even Sean and them are just, they're overwhelmed to know that, it's been about a year since they've been out, and there's a lot of love. They're getting a lot of love. But in the same sense, we're getting a lot of love. We played Kane's Ballroom in Tulsa, which is a legendary place, and it felt like it. It was packed out, and it was sold out, and the energy was there.
All those pictures of the legends on the wall.
Yeah, all over the wall. I mean, tonight's sold out Cotillion here in Wichita, and this is a legendary building, so we're very excited about that. Last night in Pueblo was unbelievable. I really can't. It was the first time we'd played there, and the kindness was overwhelming. There was probably about 5,000 people in the little State Fair arena down there for Seether. So, yeah, rock is alive and well. You just got to get out here and get to the people.
Seems like everything is just kind of falling into place for you guys.
Well, that term makes it seem a little easier than it has been, but things are, the hard work and the dedication are starting to yield some results, and the preparation meeting the opportunity is equal in success in certain areas. We're a band that has to work very hard. We do everything in-house internally, so there's really nobody to point fingers at but ourselves if things aren't going right. So yeah, it's starting to come back around a little bit, so it feels good.
Nice. Now, how long a set are you guys doing on this tour?
We start the show out, so we usually get about 30 minutes set, but we try to start 5 minutes early so we can sneak an extra song in there. Nice. Everybody's anxious by that time, to get rolling, so there's usually not very many complaints, but yeah, we get to start it off. We like that position. It's fun to be in.
Now, is it difficult for you guys to put your set list together for that opening slot, as opposed to maybe if you guys are doing like an off show on headlining or something like that?
Yeah, headlining, you have as much time as you want. We tend to be able to make everybody happy there. We all have pretty much the same sense of like what we like to play and what we enjoy and what comes across well. So it's never really difficult trying to narrow down songs. It's just difficult trying to put as many in as we can, because we just like to play as long as possible.
Now, do you have a personal favorite song that you look forward to playing every night? Is there one that you see maybe that the audience has more of a reaction to?
Yeah, I Pray was like the first song that really came out and had a lot of grassroots movement with friends at radio and XM and Sirius, and it's always been one that people gravitate to, of all walks of life. I have grandmothers and moms and aunts and everybody come up and they're just like, just love that song I Pray, and it's an intense, aggressive track, so it's fun to see it, cross boundaries. But we just finished up our second record, and it's our most exciting music to date. So there's a couple of new songs we have in the set at the moment that I'm just absolutely excited. You know, I mean, the newest one's Beyond the Stars, and we've only played it about 5 times so far. So every night I can't wait to get to it. You know, because it's that fresh blood. But it's also a new dynamic. You know, the new record is called Evolve, and that's really what we tried to do was, you know, with our atmospheric dynamics, we tried to push that a little further, and with our intensive, you know, dynamics, we tried to push that a little further too. So.
Now, going in and recording the new record, did you guys have everything already ready to go when you went in and started recording, or was there anything that was, you know, came up creative-wise, song-wise in the studio?
Yeah, it was a multi-layered process. You know, living in the different cities and all being songwriters, music can kind of come from anywhere. You know, some of the songs came from Brad's, you know, riff factory in Cleveland that he would send down to Corey, and you know, Corey would start building some drum loops around, and you know, build this beginning of a track that he could send to me, and then I could start kind of constructing, you know, melody and lyric ideas over, and that's really kind of how it comes together. You know, we did that through the end of last year, and that really gave us a lot of material going into the break this year, which we just took about 3 weeks ago. And then when we went into that break, the guys got into the studio and started jamming some stuff out live, and did about 5 or 6 songs that way, and all those songs made the new record. So it was kind of a process of everybody taking their little individual journeys, you know, contributing some things, and then, you know, finishing it up with a, you know, an all hands on deck collaborative effort that yielded a lot of energy. So.
And how many tracks did you guys record for the new record?
We did 19, and we actually recorded and tracked out. One of them was a cover song of a underground artist named Imogen Heap, out of, I might not even pronounce that correctly, but she's out of the UK. It's a pretty interesting song, but yeah, I think, you know, 12, 13 on the record, and then we'll have some leftover tracks for, you know, some
usage,
extra goodies, B-sides, you know, maybe the beginning for the next record. I mean, it wasn't, they didn't make it because they weren't good enough, you know. It was just really trying to, for the first time, create a single disc that had a cohesive sound to it. Our first album, you know, was a double disc, and it gave us a lot of room to work with, so kind of raw.
Now you're a little bit more structured down and confined.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know, the first record was kind of finding our voice, which I think happens with a lot of bands. And for a band like us that had heavily rooted identities within the business, it was about finding that new voice, you know, as comparative to Dark Day or Submerged or Switched, you know, which was, we knew the comparison was going to be there, so we had to find that new identity, and now that we had that, this record was, you know, the first one that we went into knowing ourselves, you know, as I Empire. So yeah, I think it all tightened up a lot.
Let's go back in time a little bit. Do you remember the first time you guys all came together and actually jammed the first time?
You know, it really has been a whirlwind process for us. The first time that I went up, it was just me and Corey in a room, and you know, I had the first 5 or 6 ideas, you know, to this music that he had sent me, and trying out at the same time, you know. So trying out as vocalist, trying out as a writer, you know, didn't know if we had a band yet, and all of a sudden these songs are unfolding, you know, right before our ears, and you know, Corey's texting Brad, you know, I think we got a band here, you know, I don't know what's going on with mine. So you know, we got all excited, and you know, within the next couple of months, we all kind of converged in Atlanta, and played about 3 or 4 shows, you know, after about 2 or 3 practices, you know, and just jumped right in, you know, feet first, and I think by 2 months in, you know, we went and played some shows with Seven Dust, and just kind of threw ourselves into the fire with just a bunch of ideas, really. You know, didn't really have anything recorded and tracked out, but yeah, it's just you know, nonstop. We've been a band for about 4 years. We've been on the road for about 3, so you know, it's been go go go.
So pretty much once you guys all started jamming together, did you kind of know that this was the band that was meant to be for you?
Yeah, you know, Corey and Brad have been working on this music for 3 or 4 years, and it was really about finding the right voice, you know, for their music. And you know, once I came into the picture, and you know, it just fit. You know, it's just, I Pray was the first song. You know, like I said, that's one of the biggest ones to date. So that was our introduction to ourselves. That was where it all began for us. And I think if anybody were to hear that song coming out, they would say, I think we got something here. You know, so yeah, it was instantaneous.
Nice. Now, you guys, have you talked about a release date for the next record yet?
Not yet. We just actually announced, released the cover art for it. The mastering is going to be finished within the next week, and you know, once we kind of hit those deadlines, then it puts the label on the clock to start making all those decisions. So the idea is to tour, you know, to the end of November, and then take the rest of the year off. So I'm assuming that
First part of the year.
well, I'm thinking we'll probably want to have it out before we take that break. That way we have a new, you know, disc that's circulating out there and building some buzz, you know, as we turn over into the new year. So, you know, Thanksgiving release, you know, sometime, you know, towards the end of the year. Yeah, you know, it's a tricky time because that's usually a lot of big high rollers are releasing records around that time. But you know, for us, it's just got to keep it simple. You know, we're just out here to find our own and slowly build it and make sure that we connect with those people and grow together. So,
you know, just from talking with you, you have the right vibe and attitude about you with this whole thing. It's like you haven't reached that I'm a rock star attitude, you know, where you think you're better than the other bands that on tour with you.
You know, I think there's a healthy confidence you have to protect yourself out here. No doubt. You know, all of us have been through that experience. I think you have to make the mistake when you're in the business young and you're really fueled by that youthful arrogance that, you know, kind of fuels you through life, and you know, you go through a humbling period when you know, you're floating up in the clouds for so long, thinking it's going to last forever, and then you realize you're just, you know, a small fish in a big pond, you know, and there's a lot of fish out there. So yeah, we're coming from a different perspective this go around, and we're very appreciative and grateful and humble and all those things that'll keep you controlled, but
grounded.
Yeah, but like I said, yeah, there's families involved. There's a lot of folks that sacrifice just as much, if not more, than we do, and if that doesn't keep you humble, then you know, it's probably not going to last very long for you. You know, the universe doesn't work that way, you know. But yeah, we're very, very grateful to be here. So.
Now, over the last several years, all these different social network sites have been popping up all over the place.
Yeah.
What are your personal thoughts and opinions on those things? And is there any one particular one that you're fond of using?
Yeah, that's a good question for me because it's a soapbox, you know, because I'm so. It's funny too because, as you know, private as I like to be, I believe in the interaction, you know, human interaction, and that's what I love about the live experience and the live show. But you know, there's a level of ego at play that goes into things like Twitter and Facebook and all those things, and it's very hard. Like you were saying, you get that rock star mentality that all these people love me, they want me, the things that I say are important, and it revolves. I've got all the answers and all these things, so it's very difficult because, you know, as a person that, you know, like I said, I want to get on there and inspire, but in the same sense, I don't want, you know, that to fuel my ego. So you know, it's a double-edged sword, and to each his own, you know, when it comes to something like that. But for me personally, Facebook is one that works better for me, just because I can kind of incorporate more of my family aspect and try to create something that makes me a little more relatable rather than a little more distant, you know. And you know, but like I said, it's to each his own.
Yeah, social networks. You think that's been a major factor on some of the success of the band?
Absolutely, with no doubt. I mean, even a company like Rock Wellness that I work with is a good friend of mine. You know, they've built their entire company on social networking, social marketing, because it allows them, like I said, that direct contact with people that, you know, like that kind of music or like that kind of health, you know, or that type of lifestyle, and it really helps you reach out and get out to people. You know, it's for the independent age and independent movement. That's key. You know, you need your music and you need to market it, and if you have the ability to self-produce and you have social networking, it allows you to communicate with your fans. Then it's instantaneous, especially when you can put an iTunes link on it, right to the download, or you know, straight to your web store for new T-shirts, you know, that you just launched. So it's direct. It goes right to the hip. So it's definitely extremely powerful, and it's changed the game.
On the subject of merch, how much of an input does the band have on like the T-shirt designs and the different merch that you guys offer?
100%. Brad is our graphics designer. He does all of our web work. He does all of our graphics design for our merchandise, T-shirts, CD covers, you know, tour posters, whatever it is. I mean, we're a completely in-house entity. Yeah, we have a management company that does an incredible job with helping us balance our independent partnership, which is what we have with Bulldog Productions. So yeah, it's interesting little business model.
Nice. So the T-shirts the fans see and they get to buy are things that you guys have full control over,
Absolutely.
and not just like an outside company designing something.
That was an important thing for us going into this, being experienced, having record deals, and understanding the transition that the business is taking, was to be in a position where, you know, we maintained, you know, control over our band and our art and our music and everything else that comes with it. So that's how we do it.
Definitely a good attitude to have and a good
Yeah.
thing to follow by. Definitely.
It's a little harder. It takes a lot of commitment, but we're all pretty committed.
So what's next for you guys after the Wichita stop? Where are you guys heading next?
We're going to be headlining up through the Dakotas, and then we're going to swing over to like Spokane and Seattle. We haven't headlined over there yet, and it's hard for an East Coast band like us to get out there. So we finished this tour up the 14th at the Aftershock Festival in Sacramento,
Nice.
which I think is the Saturday show with
Or should
Megadeth and Papa Roach.
there that day.
Shinedown. Yeah, it's going to be an incredible way to end the tour, and Sacramento's a beautiful part of the country.
Oh yeah.
It should be a little cooler than
Exactly.
Wichita.
Yep.
So well, we should be a little more comfy, but it'll be good. We'll get a little 2-week break, and then we're going to finish the year out with about 6 to 8 weeks with Stardog Champion, which is the Breaking Benjamin band, the new singer, and yeah, go through some markets like Florida and areas that we haven't played very much this year. So it'll be fun.
No, I noticed throughout the summer you guys have been on quite a few of the festival gigs.
Yeah.
Do you have one of those that kind of was your favorite one? I know you guys did.
Yeah,
Rockfest.
Rockfest is huge. That was an overwhelming experience. Sometimes you can almost get too big, you know. Like we were talking, the smaller club shows and stuff. There's such a connection, you know. The thing about a live show like that is the energy. I mean, it's a little overwhelming because everybody, you know, is there to get loud and move and do all these things that you try to get them to do in the club. So that makes it a little easier. You know, band camp in Madison, Wisconsin is Randy Hawk and everybody at JJO. It's special. You know, there's something special there, and they really do have a deep connection with the bands, and so it makes all the extracurricular activities of the day mean a little more. So that's one that we always look forward to. It's a great time. There's a lot of deep connection with the love and the fans there, so that's a good time. You know, yeah, I'm excited about Aftershock. You know, we did Rockfest down in or Summerfest down in Jacksonville one year. It was incredible. I mean, every festival's pretty kick-ass. It's hard to.
Especially with the different bands, you know, just different experiences and
in different pockets of the country. I mean, this country has so many different personalities, and a lot of folks don't get to see it. But you know, the Michigan areas are a lot different than the Wisconsins and the Massachusetts, and far different than the Southern Calis and the Phoenixes and Vegases. So yeah, it's fun to get out here and really experience it all.
Now, do you guys like doing the festival gigs? Is that, you know, I mean, I know doing these smaller gigs is kind of more intimate, but, you know, getting that exposure to like that many people in one day.
Yeah, it helps. I mean, it definitely, we have a big sound that we feel like fits very well on the big stage. And it's, you know, like every show has its perks, you know, and every show has its downside too. You know, usually with festivals, it's throw and go, and there's a lot of technical issues, and it's a lot more stress, and you know, you don't just get to relax into your day, you know, but you get the big crowd, you get the big stage and everything, and same thing with the small clubs, you know. It's the yin and yang.
Yeah. Now, what about keeping yourself busy on tour in between shows? Anything you do? Are you a gamer? Are you a book reader?
Yeah.
What do you do to keep yourself occupied?
We go to the movies a lot out here. It's kind of a good way just to sneak off and catch a matinee during the day to earn some time. We all are pretty big baseball fans. I have a lot of friends that play in the league, and if we ever can get in a town on a day off or there's a game, we usually try to make it out to the ballpark and have a good good time. So, you know, other than that, it's I've got our buddy Beto out here who's a tattoo artist, and we turned the back lounge into a tattoo parlor on the days off for this tour. But
nice.
Yeah, it's just get creative. Get creative. You know, we spend a lot of time together, so everybody enjoys each other's company. So.
That's always a plus when you're not hating each other, and especially when you're doing, you know, everyone's sleeping on their 12 bunks there.
You got to learn
tight quarters. And
you got to learn how to communicate and how to have healthy disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not always going to get along, and a lot of the way that we try to describe it to people is, you know, it's easy to put the good face on for a week, or when you see somebody at, you know, at the bar once a weekend or something like that. It's always easy to catch somebody on a good time, but you spend 300 days out of the year with somebody, you're going to catch them on a bad day.
Yeah.
You're going to catch them on a bad week or something, and you have to learn how to kind of go with that. So
kind of adjust your personal attitude towards
yeah, well, you know, like, you know, we touched on ego before, but ego is a very important and deadly thing, and especially when it comes to taking offense and little things that can happen out here that can start out small and just blow out of proportion. You know, so you got to keep your ego in check and not take things so personal.
Nice. Well, man, I think that covered just about everything.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate you taking time to chat with us today.
Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
For sure.